everything is simply this: when you trust somebody, that's the ultimate sign of respect, right? That's the ultimate sign of comfort, the ultimate sign of I can breathe. You're in my circle. But then when that person does something to make you, and then you're like, what's going on? This person's in my circle. Like, why would they do this? And that's when the mind starts. That's when the second guessing starts. That's when the irrational thinking starts, so to speak, right? So here's my question to you, Chevy. When is it an appropriate time for a male or female to meet someone and begin to start trusting them? Like in your book, what garners you to start trusting somebody when you after you meet them and you're in the getting to knowing them process? I think it depends on the situation. Do you know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man? Sometimes it's just the feelings. Sometimes after they prove by doing things they say they're going to do. Okay, I can get with that. But how can a person prove to you? I mean, you. I'm talking about you right now. How many? How can a person prove to you that they're trustworthy other than them doing things that they say they're going to do? Like, what if you never ask that person to do anything, or what if that person never volunteers to do anything? Like, what garners trust for that person for you? Do anything like do 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 do. It's why I have trust issues because I trust too easily. I always give the benefit of the doubt. So when you met me, you started out with trust. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Oh no. Well, that backfired. Video was more so once we started sharing personal things. Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that. So here's my thing, right? Like, I don't really talk too much about what makes me tick or whatever because, like I said in other videos, I try to be closed off because I feel like the more people know about me, the more they're going to have to use against me in the future. But here's the thing, right? What really grinds my gears is when a person knows that someone trusts them or they are held in high regard to that person, but yet they still do crazy things and crazy shit to a person that makes them question things. So, how I feel is simply like this, right? If I feel as though you are taking advantage of a person's emotions or the fact that they think that you are their friend, that really grinds my gears. Which is why I don't have many friends because a lot of people do things that I don't agree with. So I naturally geared towards females because I didn't agree with how males treat females, any relationship aspect or in the sexual aspect, right? So I naturally geared towards females as friends. Now, even though I was friends with females mostly, there was some females that was doing the same thing guys were doing. So, I veered away from that. But I mean, there comes a time where, you know, being friends with the opposite sex can be more complicated than it needs to be. Because, I mean, everyone's had this situation, and if anybody says they haven't, I'm going to say they're lying. Everyone has this situation, right? Where you're a female, you're friends with a guy, or whatever, and another friend starts to develop feelings for you and they get jealous of you and the other guy's friendship, or you have a significant other and they're jealous of the friendship because the guy's doing suspect things, right? And vice versa. Guy can be a friend with a female or whatever, another female friend gets jealous, his female friends get jealous, or his girlfriend gets jealous, mainly because of what the female's doing. Now, I've always said it takes two. So if someone's throwing signals my way, right, and they're throwing it and they're throwing it and they're throwing it, and I'm not doing anything wrong, why? Why am I the target of your aggression? Why can't we just fall on that word trust and say, well, I seen her throwing signals at him and he just ignored it. He curbed them. Okay. I don't feel like for a female to feel secure with her man, she has to witness her man berate another female or tell another female, listen, I'm not interested. Stop doing that. That's disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. The fact that the man is curbing it, because I'm going to be honest, coming from a man, if a man is curbing signals from a female, then you know he's loyal because a man is not going to curb singles at all. So if if you have a man that curbs a signal from another female and you view this, right? You're viewing this. Shouldn't that make you happy? I mean, shouldn't that make you happy? I mean, I don't understand why a female wouldn't be happy that her guy is curbing signals from another female. Like, I kind of get it a little bit because I was raised by females. Know what I mean? Like, they want that verbal reassurance, because like sometimes they're in their head like, is he just doing that because I'm around? Is he just doing that to make himself seem better than he is? But what you have to realize is he can verbally curb someone in front of you for the same exact reasons. So now you have to ask yourself, how far is he willing to go to make himself seem like he's this type of guy, right? So that's where the trust thing is a double-edged sword, right? Because if you trust the fact that he's doing what he has to do as a good man and a respectable man, excuse me, but then he's not, you look like a fool. But if you don't trust and you get upset and you approach him about it and everything like that, but he didn't do anything, guess what? You still look like a fool because you didn't trust that he was being who he really is. So trust can actually hurt you and harm you at the same time. Just like other emotions can hurt you and harm you at the same time. But trust is that one emotion that can have you benefit from it and make you regret it all in the same situation. So you're trusting someone and it's going great, but then without them thinking, they do something and then you're doubting your trust. You're doubting the whole time that you had in your mind and your heart that this person could be trusted. So now you're sitting here saying, like, I wasted 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 years, 4 years, however much time, hell, even hours with this person that I'm never going to get back. And they don't seem to give a fuck. That's that's pretty much what you're left thinking, right? So there's always two sides to this word truth, trust, I mean, right? So there's the people that value the word trust, and there's people that toe the line of the word trust, right? Now, like I said, I have trust issues, yeah. But at the same time, once you earn my trust, you're on the other side of that word trust with me. Like, you can tell me you got robbed. Meanwhile, while having money in your pocket, you can tell me you got robbed. I need $400. That's how much I had in my pocket. I'm not going to question it because you're on that side of trust. Redbeard, what's going on? I'm not going to question it because you're on that side of trust. Now, meanwhile, in your mind, you have that $400 in your pocket, but you want $800. So you say, hey, let's go to him because I know he has it. And I'm on that side of trust with him. So if I tell him I got robbed, I'm just chilling, trying to spit some facts real quick before I head into the city later. So you're saying, okay, he has that 400. I can make my 400 into 800. And I know he's not going to ask for me to pay him back because I'm on that side of trust and he's that type of guy. Right? Okay, cool. So now I'm here on that word trust, right? I'm thinking you're good. I'm thinking you're solid or whatever. Hey, they needed $400. I helped them out. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great about the fact that I trust this person. Only later to find out that they never got robbed. They had the $400 in their pocket. They just wanted $800 right then and there. So they took from me so they can benefit from it. So now I'm feeling all fucked up because I'm like, damn, I wasted all this time with this person, trusting them, believing they would have my back, only for them to stab me in it. Right? Cool. So then you're left with, what do you do now? Do you confront them? Do you just cut them off? Or do you chalk it up to a lesson learned and keep living life and just never give them money again? Because I've learned the hard way that when you take certain things from people that they're used to having, you become the bad guy, right? You become the person that's changed. You become the person that wasn't real. Trust is everything, man. Trust is something that we as humans gain towards one another, like animals trust one another. 100 years of trust gets shattered from 1 second of dishonesty. 100% true. But now here's the question: once that trust is shattered, is it easy to be regained? Should it even be regained? Or do you just say, you did it once, I'm never going to believe you're not going to do it again? It definitely depends on the person and the situation. Humans deserve second chances unless the situation doesn't call for it. Okay, I can agree with that. I can agree with that 100%. I mean, I've definitely been a person that's given more than second chances in certain situations. Um, do I feel stupid about it? Mm, yeah, no. Um, do I regret giving certain people more than two chances? Of course, 100%. But at the same time, what can you do? We're human, right? So, with that being said, what just happened to my? With that being said, I, on the other hand, will always like to give people a second chance, right? Because I will want people to give me a second chance. People are human. We make mistakes. I get that. I understand that. But at the same time, there's a difference between making mistakes and there's a difference between taking advantage of a person, right? So you take advantage of people and you're feeling great about yourself. You're getting over, yeah, they don't know. They think, oh, I'm their friend. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's perfect. But then there comes a time where you start to say, fuck, they trust me and I'm doing this to them like it's going to shatter them when they find out the real me. And that shit starts to eat away at you. Because, like I said before, I used to be a totally different person before I arrived to who I am now. And I'm not going to sit here and say that some of the old me is not still here. Now, it's not as bad as it was back in the day, but I'm a prime example. I would tell anyone what they wanted to hear in a situation just so I can get the outcome I needed to get. Was that fucked up? Yeah, it was fucked up. But like I said, it was done to me over and over and over again. So we are forever knowing and forever growing being, man. You can gain trust in anything and everything. You can also lose trust in anything and everything. It ranges from what clothes we wear to the people we talk to and care about. I wish me and my sister in law could be cool with each other, so it seems baby needs, but I don't trust her when she tells me, my wife, yeah, I'm fine, I'm over it. The body language and the tone doesn't match the feelings she was trying to convey. Yeah, I get that 100%, Redbeard. It's like people say something, but then the body language is different. or their body language says one thing and their words say something different. Like I totally understand what you're saying. I go through it all the time. I live it almost every day. So I 100% get where you're coming from with that. But then to the people that does that, it's your fault that they're acting like that because they turn everything on you. Well, I act like that because I know you're gonna bring this up, or I know you're gonna bring that up, or I know you're gonna say something about this, so I'm just on guard. So when you do it, it's like, come on, we're adults. I understand some things hurt to talk about. I understand some things hurt to relive. That's the only way things are gonna get better is if they're talked about. If you don't ever talk about nothing, it's just gonna sit there. I've also noticed the younger you get, experience how true trust can be gained and lost, the better off your life you'll be. I'm only 23, man. I know people in their 50s and 60s who don't know this type of shit. Yeah, exactly. Because they was subject to one way of thinking, one way of learning, and wasn't willing to explore and seek other knowledge and other point of views and opinions. Like I said, I like to think I'm a very open-minded person. Yeah, I'm set in my ways when it comes to certain situations, but I'm always open to listen to other people's opinions and thoughts. Doesn't mean I have to take it, doesn't mean I have to agree with it, but I'm always open to listen to other people's thoughts and interpretations and inceptions of different situations or different ways on how to approach a situation or how to verbalize a situation or if it should even be verbalized at all. But at the same time, like you said, Redbeard, the younger you get experience, the more you understand. And I'm starting to see a lot of these younger people are learning something one way, like they have that tunnel vision. Once they start on a path of learning something, that's it. There's no left, there's no right, there's no lane change, there's no nothing. It's just tunnel vision, straight focused. Now, we're in 2021, about to go into 2022. So, a little bit of story time. So, Tuesday morning before I'm going to work, I turn on my TV, I turn on the news, and first thing I see on the news is hate crimes in Northport High School, which is about like 4 or 5 towns over from me, right? So we have these kids now, the older generation from me and where I am from. Trust was based on their word and handshakes. That's true too. So these hate crimes going on in schools now, and you get people talking about we have to do better in educating our youth. We have to get better and showing them it's has to be more acceptable. It's being one minded truly their fault though. We also have to realize the way people were raised affects them in many ways. So who's at fault, them or the ones who raised them to have this mindset? I was just get into that, Bones. That was part of the story time. So the generation and generations below me only do what Twitter and TikTok tells them. People on these platforms say, don't trust this or don't trust that, and they take it at face value. Be a man of your own word and not word of another. That's true too, Redbeard. But yeah, get into what Bone said. That was the point of the story time. So they're saying we have to teach these kids the importance of equality and acceptance. No, that's not what you have to do. You have to go back to the homes. You have to go back to the parents, the grandparents, any adult that was part of their life growing up and ask them what have they been being taught at home to make them come to school and write homophobic slurs in the bathroom and draw swastikas on the back of the building. We have to find out what these families are telling these kids to where they're going out in the public and thinking that it's okay to do what they need to do. I like that quote. I just made LOL. Be a man of your own word. Not the word of another man. I want to see that shit tattooed on someone at one point in life. Yeah, that's true. You know what? It might be me. I might get that tattoo. That is a good quote. And I like getting tattoos. But yeah. So I want to know, and I know I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but like I want to know, where's the accountability for the parents of these kids that's writing homophobic things and drawing swastikas in schools? And yeah, I get that it's high school. Every child's gonna have their own mind at some point in time. But in this situation, being homophobic is taught. It's not a trait. Being hated is taught, not a trait. And hold on. Yo,
Oh,
what's going on?
nothing much. What's going on with you?
Not much.
You can continue what you were saying.
Hmm. So we have to hold everyone accountable for what? We have to hold the parents accountable for these kids, right? So just because they're in high school doesn't mean that they can't be taught. Doesn't mean that they can't be steered in a different direction. People don't trust parents to discipline kids only because it's been proven time and time again that parents are getting less and less active in kids' lives and think the internet is the best babysitter money can buy. That's true too. That's true too. Along with the fact that as years went on, what about the kids who don't respect their parents? What can parents do? To peer pressure is a bitch nowadays. That's true too. All that's true compared to all the laws that's come into place when it comes to disciplining kids. You can't do this, it's child abuse. You can't do that, it's child abuse. You can't do this, it's child abuse. You can't say that, it's child abuse. So, I mean, that's 100% true, Redbeard. It I I believe that 100%. And it's like these parents, even the young kids, these parents let these young kids go out and have temper tantrums in stores and fall out in the middle of the store and scream and kick and throw things and all this other stuff. Who? Not me. Not me. I've gotten in plenty of arguments about not letting my son act like that in public. I take him right to the car. If I did all that, I was getting my ass whipped 100%. 100%. But you can't do that now because it's child abuse. So I take my son right to the car. Right to the car. And we sit right in that car. And he scream and he cry and he yells and he throws things and I stand right there and stare at him until he's done. There's ways to discipline your children without hitting them, yes. But there's certain situations where they deserve a spanking. There's a difference between a spanking and a beating, okay? I would never hit my kid, ever. Have I spanked him a couple of times? Yes. On his buttocks? Yes, I have. But I would never beat my kid. And I feel that's what people need to learn. There's a difference between beating and spankings. I got spankings growing up. I turned out fine. I mean, I'm still a little fucked up, but that's not from growing up. That's from life experiences. But I turned out fine. So I mean, I really don't get where it came to. Oh, you can't do this to your child. It's child abuse. You can't do this to your child. It's child abuse. And then kids calling the cops on their parents. Like, when did that start to happen? See, too many times parents of my nieces and nephews let them run the house. Yep. Well, I haven't seen it in my family, but I've seen. Well, actually, no, I'm lying. I've seen it in my family. Like my my aunt let her oldest run her house, like nobody's business. The day my kid can run the house is when he makes enough money to buy my house and pay my bills. 100%. 100%. Like that's the first thing I tell my son now. He throws his temper tantrums. He slams my doors. I go. I'm like, excuse me, sir. Do you pay bills here to be slamming my door? Like, why are you slamming my door? If anyone should be angry, it should be me. I told you to do something, so do it. That's it. I don't need the crying. I don't need the extras. Just do what I asked you to do, and we'll all be happy. Like, I don't get the I'm going to my room and slamming my door and oh, he's just upset. Do you got door slamming money? I'm gonna say that next time. Do I got door slamming? Yeah, I'm gonna use that next time. You got anything to add, Bones?
About disciplining your child.
About anything?
I mean, I get, some people out there are saying, oh, this is child abuse because you're spanking your child. And, honestly, I think for any parent, it's kind of hard to like sit there or any person to watch another person hit someone else, regardless if you're young or if you're older. You want to stop that, right? So, and I used to be the same way because my dad used to spank me. My dad used to throw me up against the wall and hold me by my neck and tell me, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" And and I used to hate my dad, right? But I realized why he did it to make me understand who the hell runs this house, who the hell pays the bills and stuff like that. Now I don't necessarily agree with everything that he did, like leaving me out in the middle of nowhere to, basically say, you want to be a little shit, I'm going to leave you out here in the woods. Because that did mentally fuck me up a little bit, right? Because I'm a kid. I have no idea what's going on, right? But at the end of the day, I think the best way, the best form to teach your child to respect you, I think, as they get older, it's kind of hard when they're younger, is the way the military does it for grown-ups. They yell in your face. They tell you, you don't want to do this shit? All right, get on the ground, start pushing. Because it's not abuse, right? All you're doing is making the person do push-ups. That's not abuse at all. You can't argue that that's abuse. All they're doing is doing some physical activities.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at the end of the day, a lot of people can take a lot. I'm not fully 100% agreed on what the military does, but the military has a way to take your mind and make you feel like a piece of shit and rebuild you to be a respectable person, to understand that, yeah, you know what? I live under this person's household and I need to respect their wishes, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have a roof over my head. I wouldn't have food. And that's what the military. I wouldn't have a roof. I wouldn't have meals. I wouldn't be physically active and physically fit to do my job. That's what kids have to understand. I have people at work all the time. I hate my job. Then why are you here? Why are you here then? Oh, I don't give a fuck. I don't need this job. Then leave. Because I don't need that around here. I've seen kids that will just go into jobs and be lazy and have no respect for anyone else. And I think everyone needs a little bit of military drill sergeant in their life. And that would change a lot of people. Oh, yeah, they don't have to put your hands on there. I've seen people freaking break down and cry and say, you're mentally abusing me. Oh, mentally abusing you. You don't even know what a mental abuse is yet. Go to other countries and tell me what freaking mental abuse is. We got women over in other countries that can't even show their face. You know how mentally fucked up they are? They're scared to show their face. That's mental abuse. So that's just my opinion.
I agree. So, what are your thoughts on trust?
Trust?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at if you look at history in itself, right? You have a lot of people that get together, nations. It's not even relationships. It's not even. Uh-oh. This stream went off again. Hang on. Yeah, it froze. Still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Your stream froze for a second. That's why. It's not, you can look at trust as being friendship, relationship, marriages, nation, politicians, everything underneath the sun where people have to work and cooperate together. Trust is something that you give to people, and it can always be taken away by simple things. If you look at history, you could be the greatest friends and someone will still fuck you over. So at the end of the day, trust for me is trusting myself. I trust myself to get myself through my life, through my troubles, through my hardships. And I do not trust anyone else to do it for me. I may be your friend. I may be your buddy. But if you come up to me and say, dude, I just got mowed for $400, right? Like you were saying, I'd be like, dude, that sucks. I'm sorry. Can I borrow $400? No, you can't. Because I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know if you're lying to me. I don't know if you're going to pay me back. I don't know if you're just going to run off with it and you never speak to me again. If you want some help, go get a job. Sometimes life is hard. Sometimes you get mud and there's nothing you can do about it. Life happens. You just got to get back up on your feet and keep trying. It sucks. No, Chevy, you're not getting $400. All right, I'll direct deposit it to you. Hang on 1 second. But yeah, no, but seriously, dude. Trust to me is trusting yourself and that you're going to be reliable and you're going to be able to do the things that you need to do. The greatest trust that you can have is in yourself. Truth will give it to me. That's funny.
Yeah, so I agree with that, but we're also a victim to that word trust as well, because when you're in a circle with someone that you trust, you want to make sure they're good. You want to make sure that if you're able to help them, you're gonna help them so they're not in the situation they're in. Not necessarily by giving them money, but you want to make sure they're good. And then to find out that they're coming to you falsely without any real rhyme or reason, just because they want to take the easy way and they know you'll help them, that makes you feel pretty shitty. Trust in what you know, not what you think. That's true.
I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, so I'll give you a prime example. So you want to trust someone that you know that they're going to be trustworthy and all that, but at the end of the day, you will never know, right? In military, there have been times that you trust your battle buddies, you trust your sergeants, you trust your commanders to the fullest extent, to the fullest highest level. You trust these guys that they're going to be there and they're going to be behind your back. Even in the midst of war, they're going to have your back, right? But we've had traitors in the Army, people that had trusted them, commanders who were trying to destroy the military. And we could trust them all day long, but we may never know that that was them. And that's hard, because you look at someone and someone sexually violated another officer and you trusted that. That was the guy who told you what to do. That was the guy that gave you promotions. That was the guy that told you good job, and you trusted him. It's not that we can't trust anyone, but you have to be realistic about the situation. If you're going to trust someone, trust that they are going to do the right thing. That's all you can do. And when they don't do the right thing, then you can't trust them no more. That's just how it is. Thank you. Because at the end of the day, you can't fully know if someone is telling you the truth 100%. And like I said, all you can do is trust yourself, your intuition, because at the end of the day, you're not going to know.
That's true. That is true. You also have to be good at reading people. I have a great gift of being able to read people. Don't just trust anyone. Trust in people you believe in. That's true. That's true. My grandfather used to have this saying. He used to say, I trust everyone. I just don't trust the devil inside of people, which didn't make sense to me when I was a kid. But as I got older, it started making sense to me. Like the person itself is not who you're distrusting, right? It's the actions they choose to take. So you're not trusting their mental thought process at the time, or you're not trusting the choices they're choosing to make, because the choices people make doesn't define them as a person. It just defines their moment of weaknesses and their inability to tell right from wrong at that point, right? So I guess what that saying means is everyone's equal. You can trust your fellow man or woman. You just can't trust that they're always going to make the right decisions every time.
Yeah. I will say this though. Out of everyone in here that is saying something new, Redbeard and Chevy, right? My thing is that we all go about trust in different ways, right? And really and truly, there's no right or wrong way to do it. At the end of the day, we all make our own decisions on how we're going to proceed something, you know. And these are all good ways, and like I said, like you're saying, it's good to be open minded, but we do have to realize that yes, this generation is one track minded, right? And there's really not much we can do about it, to be quite honest. When someone's one track minded, it's hard. I mean, do we blame the kids that are listening to the YouTube videos and stuff? Or do we blame the parents for letting the kids watch a certain content? Or do we blame the parents for teaching their kids to act this way? But then again, can we blame the parents because maybe their parents taught them to be this way? It goes down a whole rabbit hole. It's hard to distinguish who's right or wrong because there's really no right or wrong in this situation. We were all raised differently.
That's true.
Yeah.
So here's my thing, right? Piggybacking off what my grandfather used to say, I learned
Mm-hmm.
in my experiences that when people break trust, it's not the person themselves that's breaking the trust. It's the person's decisions that breaks the trust, right? So
Yeah.
there's people that make mistakes, and they say hindsight is 2020. There's people that make mistakes and they feel like it's the right decision in that point in time, in that moment, before they think it through. So then when you make your decision and you get your outcome and you realize the consequences it has on other people, then you want to try to make it right. But then that person has this crossroads. Are they doing it for them so they don't lose you as a resource? Or are they doing it because they truly feel bad and they want to repair the friendship that they're about to lose? And often people dwell on that fact a lot, I think. I blame the parents, kids until they are like 16 are not responsible for what they do in life. It sounds dumb, but you have to live with your parents until you are at least 18 years old. You're also considered an adult at the age that age. Therefore, parents have 18 years to shape you, mold you, and teach you about life, people, and everything else. That's true.
Okay, let me ask you this because I disagree with that statement. I mean, I do agree, but I also disagree. That the parents do have responsibility of you until you become an adult, and they have reasons, you know, they have to shape and mold you. But then, what's the right way to raise your child? How do you take a small youngin, an individual that is your heir to you? How do you raise them to be good, to be efficient in life, and to be, you know, respectful and everything else? What is the proper way to raise your child?
Well, I think when it comes to the whole respect and
Mhm.
thing like that, I can't really attest to raising a girl because I've never raised a girl. I've helped raise
Yeah.
a lot of men, but I have a son. So I think
Mhm.
in terms of being The right way to raise your child is to monitor them and build their trust. When kids trust their parents, they tend to behave better and do better. That's true too. But
But is that truly the right way?
I think as far as the being
Mm-hmm.
respectable and everything for a guy, it's all about choices. And even though my son can't talk, I know he
Mm-hmm.
understands. So I try to show by example and situations that I'm in how to do certain things. Like there's certain situations where I want to say fuck it and just do what I know how to do and fuck shit up. Then I have to think, okay, well, I'm not gonna want my son to be like this, so I have to think how I would tell my son to handle the situation if he was in the situation right now. So I think it all goes back to leading by example as well. Like you can't expect your child to be an upstanding citizen and respectful if you're talking to your friends in front of them and you're saying, "Yeah, fuck that faggot and that nigger and this and that and I do this and I do that," and but then you turn around
Mm-hmm.
and tell them, "You can't say this, you can't do that, you can't do this." Eventually, it's going to come to a point where they're going to say, "Well, you say it, you do it, you act it. Why can't I?"
Well, yeah. But if you're monitoring your kid, right, the entire time, like there's some parents out there, right, that monitor their kids a lot on what they watch, on what they do, who they hang out with, right? That kid could turn out to become rebellious and do the complete opposite of what you're trying to do. And then they're going to go out there and seek out the wrong individuals. And then they're going to be led by them because they're going to have so much hatred toward you for monitoring. So I think there's a balance between monitoring your child and also, too, letting your child learn to fail and learn from their mistakes. You don't always have to shelter them.
Well, I've never been the one for
Mm-hmm.
shelter because I didn't have a sheltered life. Like I was monitored and I was guided, but I wasn't sheltered. I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like monitoring does what parents think it's going to do. Like you said, I think it's going to make them rebel. Me
Yeah.
personally, I'm not going to be afraid to let my son fail. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'm going to do is make sure I'm there so when he does fail and he comes to me, I can give him advice on how to bounce back from that failure, on how to make sure that failure never happens again, on how to
Fully
improve
agree.
on the situation for the next time.
Fully agree. Yeah.
So, with that being said, and not just because he's a guy, if I had a daughter, I would do the same thing. Failure is a part of life. So,
Yeah.
if you don't allow your kids to fail, but be there for them when they fail and help them come up from the failure, then I feel that's where you start dropping the ball as a parent. Because if you can't help your child understand that failure is a part of life and you can bounce back from it, it may take more work than they anticipated it's going to take. But if you could bounce back from failure, then you can better yourself from that failure. Every failure is a lesson. Every failure is going to hurt differently. Every failure is going to impact you differently. But if you
Yeah.
could bounce back from it, then that's life. Then you know that you have the tools you need to succeed and eventually stumble upon a situation that's going to work out for you. That's just how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to find a balance. That balance is very hard to achieve. Discipline them when you need to, but teach them what they did is wrong and enlighten them on what happens when they made those choices. I have made dumbass decisions in my life, and sometimes I bounce back, and other times I haven't. Well, yeah, it's also a 50-50. But what I was saying was you're not always going to bounce back, but at least, you know, you have those parents that, hey, listen, okay, you tried, you failed again. It's time to go a different direction. Let's figure a different way out.
Yep.
And then you have those parents that's like, well, you fucked up again. What you going to do now? Because I
Yep.
have no ideas for you. So what's next?
So, so who's wrong in that situation, right?
Exactly.
Like who's giving the better advice, right? That's my whole thing. It's like parenting is a hard thing to do, and parenting's a hard way to find balance. Like you were saying, one parent's gonna say, "You failed. Let's look at your options," right? And then the other parent over here is gonna say, "You failed. well, it looks like you better find something else to do because I have no ideas, right? My dad said that for the longest time until he finally said, "Son, I think you need to go to the military." And that's what I did, and it changed my life forever. So it's like, who's really at fault? It's a hard balance, man. I mean, I don't think anyone's totally wrong in the way that they raise their child. Now, there's some people out there that obviously is totally wrong, like, abusing their child, doing drugs in the house and showing kids that and beating them. Yeah, that's wrong. But I don't think there is a wrong way to raise your child. Everyone's raised differently, and we're going to teach them differently.
I mean, I personally think where the right and wrong comes in that as a parenting aspect is when you become a parent and you start making decisions that doesn't put your child first. Like, for instance, if you feel like you're overwhelmed at home and you just want some free time and you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna let his father take care of him for a while. I'm gonna go out. That's wrong. You're not putting the needs of your child first.
How's
What
that
if your
wrong?
child likes you being around more than the father? Then
Yeah,
you're saying fuck that child. You want your free time. I'm going out. So
I
then
don't.
now the father's home stressing out because the child doesn't want to be with the father. He doesn't know what to do. The child's uncomfortable because the mom's not there, and you're like, what the fuck? And then vice versa. What happens if the child likes being with the father and the father says, fuck it, I'm gonna go out. I had a long week. The mom's home stressing, don't know what to do. The child's uncomfortable because he don't see daddy. So now what? Like, I deserve my free time too. No, when you have a child, there's no more free time. Your child is your time.
No, 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 no. I don't think that's tremendously true. I think it's 50-50 with the parent. Like, if a parent wants to go out just for a second to cool off their mind, sometimes you need that. It's stressful being a parent. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm going to step out, go somewhere real quick, maybe go to a store or just go to a store that I want to be looking for. Can you watch the kid for a little bit and go out and have that free time? And that's absolutely fine. And if that dad there is saying, "Oh my god, I can't deal with him. Why did you leave me with him?" Then you guys shouldn't have had a fucking kid in the first place. It's 50-50 between a marriage. You both have to be there for those kids and take care of those kids and both do the same thing. Be there for them. I don't think it's necessarily wrong to take a break that you don't love your child, but I mean, when you got a child screaming for hours, I mean, dude, that psychologically that does fuck you up a little bit. It puts a lot of strain on you. Sometimes you need that break. Sometimes you got to go to your husband or your wife and say, "Hey, look, I need a break. I need you to watch them. I'm gonna go take a shower. Or I'm gonna go outside. Whatever. Everyone needs a break. Doesn't mean you can't have free time.
Yeah, a break, no problem. But going out to the clubs or hanging out till 2, 3 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning,
Oh, that's
that's
what you're
not
talking
cool.
about. Okay, I got you now. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Then
And
my bad.
it's like it's these people that's like, okay, yeah, but I'm home by the time they wake up, or I take them to school, or I do this. That's not the point. If you need a break from the child or even your spouse, if it's the spouse that you need a break from, you need to put that aside when you have a child and realize, okay, well, my child needs me, so I have to figure something else out. Sit in separate rooms, sleep in separate rooms, don't talk to each other. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things you could do besides hanging out because you don't want to be around the other half, or the other half is getting on your nerves, or whatever it may be. I
Mm-hmm.
personally feel like when you have a child, sacrifices have to be made. Sometimes your happiness has to be sacrificed. Sometimes your time has to be sacrificed. Sometimes sleep has to be sacrificed. I mean, that's part of being a parent. And like, if you're not ready to sacrifice some of those things sometimes, then maybe you need to think things through. Adoption, maybe. I don't know. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I rather see a child in an environment where they can be cared for mentally, emotionally, physically, than them be in a situation where there's a chance where there could be a mental breakdown and someone gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I do agree with Redbeard on trust. with kids because like your parents are supposed to be the ones that protect you. So if you can't trust that your parents are going to protect you,
Mm-hmm.
then who the hell are you going to trust when you grow up and become an adult? Nobody.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the way that my dad has explained things to me makes more sense, and I've been a lot happier in my life. I've been able to move forward and accomplish things and be more of me than be so depressed all the time. But again, that doesn't work for everyone. I mean, I think you ask some of the most difficult questions that most podcasts, excuse me, wouldn't, or you don't really see on more famous podcasts or more known people because everyone's out to push you a certain way, right? The left and the right are out to push you in one direction. There is really no middle ground between them. So I think it's just kind of hard. You have to find your own path. You have to find your own way that's going to make you happy, that's going to push you to do better. And that's different for everyone. And it's the same thing you have to teach your kid. Like my kid, I'm not going to say, you got to be Christian. You got to be this. You got to do this because this is equal to success. I'm going to say, look, this is what dad did. I don't know. Whatever you want to do in life, I'm going to support you. And if you fall down, get back up, try again. After so many tries, might need to look for something else, bro. That's how I did it.
Mm-hmm.
But they may go a different route, and that's fine. They can go a different route. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I believe that you should let your child create their own path for the most part. But I mean, if you see that that path that they're going on is destructive, definitely no point in intervening.
Like drugs and stuff, hell yeah. No, yeah, I would intervene on that. Like hardcore drugs, we're talking about hardcore. So, yeah. I agree with that. If it's going to kill them or be destructive later on in their life, then yeah, I would intervene and try to stop it. You may not be able to stop it, but at least try. Don't just let them sit there and destroy their life. Yeah.
Well, Redbeard, you do have parents like that. You have parents that expect their children to follow in their footsteps, especially the families that have family owned businesses or have legacies or like anything like that. Like if five generations went to Harvard, they're going to expect their child to go to Harvard because that's where the family goes, right? And if the child says, no, I don't want to go to Harvard, I want to go to Princeton, it's the end of the fucking world. You're not going to Princeton. We all went to Harvard, and that's where you're going to go. Princeton's still a good school. Like it's not like your child is being an underachiever. Your child wants to carve his own path in life. He doesn't want to be Barrington the Fifth of Harvard. He wants to be Barrington the First of Princeton. So I don't see no problem in that. Just like if you have a family full of doctors and lawyers and you get one kid that wants to be a cop, you get one kid that wants to be a mechanic. No, 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 no. You can't do that. You can't do that. We've never had a cop or a mechanic in the family and in our life. We're doctors, we're lawyers. That's what we do. Your child has dreams, and you as a parent crushing your child's dreams, it's not going to give the child a very positive outlook on the world or life for that matter. Exactly. If the kid that came from a family of doctors wants to be a cop, let him be a cop. That kid will more than likely and hopefully do something that changes things within that career field. That makes the police system better. Yep, 100%. But it's like, I don't think people realize nowadays that the impact that they have on kids' perception of the world starts at home. Because now I feel kids relate the outside world a lot to their home life. So if they have a hostile home life, they're going to think the world is hostile. If they have a sheltered home life, they're going to think the world is sheltered. It's a slippery slope with balance or whatever, but I think that you can definitely, how can I say this? You can definitely put into perspective your child's wants and dreams and hopes into your plan for them, right? Like there's a way to incorporate both. So like if you're a family full of lawyers and doctors and he wants to become a cop, I told my wife that when we have a kid and he expresses interest in art, boom, he's gonna do art until he's 100% certain he doesn't want to do it. And he wants to play sports, go play sports until you don't want to do it. Basically, says I trust you, I support you, I love you. Yeah, 100%. Yep. And I mean, there's gonna be those kids that's indecisive, that wants to do art. Then 2 weeks later, they want to do sports. Then 6 months later, they want to do music. Then 7 months later, they want to do karate or something like that, or wrestling or whatever, or whatever. Those kids, in my opinion, those kids I find to be the most intelligent, most inspiring, most attentive kids in the world because they've tried everything. They've tried their hand at everything to see what they was best at. And I'm not knocking the kids that get into something and stick with it and stick with it and stick with it until they become perfect at it. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But I find that the kids that tries this and then a couple of months later tries that and then a couple of months later tries this and then a couple of months later tries that, guess what? Eventually that makes them well rounded because they have a little bit of experience and everything. That kid knows how to draw a little bit. That kid knows how to play an instrument. That kid knows how to play baseball, a little bit of basketball, maybe even football. That kid knows literacy. It's been significantly proven that people who have multiple interests and engage in those multiple interests tend to be smarter because their brain is super productive and they tend to learn quicker and be more wise. That's true. Yep, that's 100% true. I mean, like I said in my other video, I have no reason to hide things or whatever. I wasn't a great student in school. I cut class a lot. Sometimes I wouldn't even go to school. But when I did go to school and we had pop quizzes, I would get 80s and 90s. It wouldn't be in the damn class. Kids that was in the class studying, doing the curriculum, would get 50s and 40s and 23s. And I'm looking at them like, how the fuck did you fail this test? Like, I wasn't even in the class. How did you fail this test? So, I mean, it's like, and before I started not liking school too much, I dabbled in a little bit of everything. Thanks, Redbeard. I appreciate you. It's gonna end soon because I gotta get dinner ready and stuff. But yeah, I I dabbled in a little bit of everything. You know, I played in the band a little bit. You know, I took shop. I did video editing. I was in art a little bit. I mean, I can't draw worth a damn, but you know, I was interested in it at the time. So I settled on law for a little bit, right? So that's why people call me the street lawyer, right? So then after I got tired of reading up on the law, I started reading a lot of medical books and stuff like that because that intrigued me for a little bit. So now I'm known as the ghetto doctor. So it's like your brain absorbs different things that you're interested in at the time and then it just retains, right? So people come to me with legal questions. If I know the answer, I give them the answer. If I don't, I tell them that's above my knowledge. People come to me with symptoms. I unofficially diagnose them. I think I have about a 97% success rate. I'm gonna say I'm wrong here and there, but for the most part, if you give me symptoms that you're having, I can pretty much tell you what you have and be dead on. So yes, 97. That's accurate. That's very accurate. So my thing about it is simply this: you never know what you're gonna end up doing in life when you get older. You can have dreams to do one thing and it's gonna work out, or you can have dreams to do something else and it doesn't work out, and you end up doing something you never thought you would be good at. But the bottom line is simply this: the word trust. It's used in every situation: friendships, marriages, relationships, job situations, career choices. Um, Pretty much any and every situation you could almost think of, the word trust is involved in it. So people forget about the word trust so much that it impacts the decisions they make, and they end up making decisions based on how they feel and what they want, and they don't trust the fact that there's people that care, or people will be affected by their decisions. So with that being said, I feel like if a lot of people slow down and just remember the word trust, a lot of people's feelings won't get hurt in this day and age, and a lot of people will be able to communicate better. That's just my thoughts. That's just my opinion. But with that being said, I think this is going to conclude this podcast. So, with that being said, I want to give a special shout out to my two sponsors. My two sponsors: Swift Lifestyles, Energy Focus, Reenergize. Appreciate you. Made stand out. I appreciate you guys. Love the hoodies. I will be wearing it on stream soon. Special shout out Chevy, Bones, Redbeard, Tricks, anyone that was lurking. I think Flurpy was lurking. I appreciate you guys. Possibly be back Tuesday. Not really sure. Um, I'm gonna try to work a special podcast out for you guys on Wednesday. I'm not gonna let the details out just yet because I'm not sure if it's ironed out and 100% gonna happen yet. But working on a special podcast. If it don't happen Wednesday, it's gonna happen soon. So working on that. Um, then it'll be back to regularly scheduled programming on Friday, I believe. Yeah, Friday. So yeah, I'll keep you guys posted on Twitter, Chevy, you in Discord, and yeah, the podcast is gonna happen Wednesday. It'll be posted on Discord. I mean on Twitter and Discord and Facebook and all that other stuff. So thank you guys. Appreciate you. Um, as always, we're gonna try to send the love over to someone else. So let's see who's live. Let's see who's live. We're gonna try and read Hot Piccadilly. Uh, Did the read work? I'm not sure. Let's see. All right. So thank you guys. I appreciate you guys sending the love over to Hot Piccadilly. And I want to thank you guys for showing up today. And I hope to see you guys soon. Laters.